Getting some background noise cleared up. Okay, let's do the mindless work. It's mindless time. Just making sure that it comes back up here. Take. Okay, just get that last potion crafted, and then we're going to make, well, just as boring, yes, just as boring as mulch, people. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is not chuckles. This is not interesting stuff. This is geomancy, components, or concentrate, right? I have to create 1,000 of these. Yes, Sketch. Thank you. Thank you. So just going to try the ore right now. Let's see. First things first. Is there a difference in concentrate quality? No. So just like in mulch, it makes no difference to the geomancy components. Let's make sure it goes to 2 here and not. Yeah, makes no difference. Okay, that's what we needed to check. You know, I do check little things as I go. But now I'm going to do this 100 times. God bless America. Just don't want to run out of time, right? I got 18 minutes. Last time it took me 2 pots to do it. But I'm going to be much faster this time. I'm not as much moving around. Maybe I can get all through done. We'll see. So if I can get this done, that'll be 2/3 of the raw components done. I still need to do stone. We'll see. I don't know. I could see this as a guild. It would be so mindless. Someone had a comment. I think it was Blazin was wondering about the point of interests. But I could have sworn that in a video with Todd and Blixdev talking about resources and point of interest, there's a difference between resources and, let's say raw materials, right? So this is right here, this is tin ore. It's a crafting resource, right? Versus point of interest materials. They were talking how, oh, I got this big block of, slag or whatever the equivalent of it is for ore. They say, oh, then I want to refine it down, and I can finally use it for something to make a spear out of or something. So they made it sound like that it was not a 1-to-1 ratio of POI resources versus player crafting resources. That could be just my bad assumption. Absolutely. It could be just all me. But at least that's the feeling I got. So I'm just doing this here real quick before dinner. Maybe I can get a chance to log on tonight and finish up some stone. I do not have close to enough stone. I think I got like 200-300 is all. But boy, I mean, it's no joke. So actually averaging okay stone out of rank 5s, right around 6 per. If I'm not counting the higher end stone. I mean, I can use it like I've shown here. You can use the higher end stone to create ore concentrate, but what's the point? I need that high-end stone to create good tools, good weapons, good armor. It just doesn't seem likely in the midst of a game that you're going to dump in 100 green ore to get 10 more pieces of ore concentrate. It's just kind of risky, I think, to assume that. So I'm just going to grind through. So 12. Let's go boom here, boom here. There we go. Sadly, I got to have all 10 of the same type. That came up today in things. When you see this box that says 10, it's got to be 10 of the same quality of the same material. Now, if it was a 5 and a 5, I could put 5 copper and 5 tin in it, and it would count for 10 ore into concentrate. But the current schematics have us set only as 10 of the same premium ore of the same quality. So I can't even put in 5 green tin and 5 white tin in its current configuration. Just the grind. If you're watching this, Chief, you are spot on. I have no idea why we're wasting that step, right? Somehow, especially if ore concentrate doesn't allow me to change its quality. Hey, Chief. Chief had a really good point in chat. So there's an extra step in here. Like I'm somehow going to change the name here of ore concentrate. Doesn't make any sense. Because it doesn't matter if I used green or white. We've already shown that the outcome of that is ore concentrate. Not James's or Anhrez's or Chief's ore concentrate. I guess it could. It would just mean it couldn't stack. But yeah, I mean there is some chances. That's a good point, Chief. There are some good chances for some effectiveness here. Streamlining a few things. So yes, for those people who just came on, I'm creating 100 ore concentrates. They go into stacks of 50. That is to go with my 100 mulch that I did in part 1. And then later I need to do 100 gravel. Out of those, I'll be able to create enough components to create a parcel of land one by one. Now, supposedly, of course, you're going to do, you don't do this 1,000 at a time. The recipe calls for, 100 stone, 100 ore, and 100 wood to create a single earth. Right here, you see the earth? But what good is that? It takes 10 earth to do what I want to do anyway. So, if I'm going to use a pot, I'm going to spend the time, then I might as well just keep grinding away. Got some good stats on how many nodes it took me to get this direction. Average per whites per average per whatever. The problem I have is my numbers don't translate well to other players because we all have such detailed training differences, right? I've spec'd this and I've spec'd this. I'm good at crit amounts on certain things, and therefore it's not an apples to apples comparison when I go, hey, how long it's going to take Skit to mine up 1,000 ore versus how long it took Anhrez. And not to mention there's RNG involved, right? Because you have to hit certain proc tables, and if we're both at 30% crit amount, it's all about how often I crit. I mean, it should even out. That's what math is for, figuring out the even out. But it's not a guarantee. We're 25% of the way there. Good God, and I've almost blown 50% of my pot. See, gonna have to build more pots. Just not fast enough. Wow. Talk about the grind. But again, this is not something you're going to do in the field. You're going to be sitting in the safety of your own EK or your guild's EK or some protected city that's not in the middle of a siege, and you're going to pull in all these resources and go, no, here, I'm going to kick out another square foot for a square for our guild site or whatever. Man. Maybe I can get 30 done in 20 minutes. I mean, sorry, 30 done in 10 minutes. So if I'm as effective as I can be, yeah, I should be. So 95% fail rate, I'll bring it up now. Who knows? You know, I went all 100 last time without a fail, which is actually statistically way outside the norm. On 100 crafts, you would expect it, you know, at 95%. I know it seems silly, but, you know, I'm not saying you should have 5. I'm saying it would have a higher chance to proc at least once as a fail. Because every single time, it's like you're rolling your 100-sided dice. Eventually, it's got to roll on a 96, right? I mean, but so far, so good. Nice to see the skills still moving. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm short. Bring in some more. I want to keep that. Bring in that. Bring in that. Gold and silver right now, I know it seems odd. Gold and silver for me is what I'm keeping mostly, if I can, because that allows me to hire higher crit tools. Now, for weapons, for a DPS style character, you're going to want iron or copper, which will give you attack power or crit. Right now, I'm not even focused on combat. I could kind of care less. I am looking at the disciplines right now, but I'm not really paying much attention overall to the numbers because the numbers could easily move. You know, they're pretty wiggly in my opinion. So they're going to have to make some adjustments. They're like I said on the forums, it's too early to start bitching about balance. Well, if it's too early to start bitching about balance, then other than testing the animations, I don't really care. $37. We're grinding. Also seems to me that there's no variation of the output you should be able to put a stack in. I swear to God. Well, the concept of factories, Chief. Yeah. This is just, there's a sense of fail on each one, but why not let the computer fail for me? If I put in 1,000 here, it should tell me at the end how I did. This is just a time sink. I mean, a ridiculous amount of time sink, right? If you think about it, it's pretty... I mean, I don't care if you're 5 people working on it. Five people working on it, everyone needs to create 2 Earths. You're still doing 200 sets, right? It's still an awful lot of stuff.